What's up everybody, Gerald here and welcome back to a brand new episode of Chasing the 30 up here on Steve's Lake at Darenth Fishing Complex. It's been nearly 2 months since I fished this lake, so I'm excited to finally get the rods back out. I'm going to roll the intro and I'm going to show you where we're fishing and what I've been up to. And we're back in again. So here we are in our chosen swim. We are in the left hand side of the haunted today, and as you can see there's plenty of leaves on the ground. It is now the 1st of November and the sun is out. The weather has been all over the place the last couple of months, which is why I've kind of stayed away from this one and started fishing some of the smaller lakes on the complex. I've done a few sessions over on Masons, which I'll show you right now. So as you can see, I took about 15 minutes to make the decision and we've moved over onto Masons. We've got all 3 rods out. We've got the right hand rod tucked right down in there. The middle rod is just off the point, about a foot off the bank, and then the left hand rod is right in the middle of this bay where we saw all the fish earlier moving around. I've scattered some more bait around there. I'm not putting in too much now because I have put in quite a bit throughout the couple of hours that I've been here. I've just been trickling it in, so I put in I think like another 10 freebies once I'd cast out, just like around the rods, just to see if that will entice them to come and take the bait. We've got probably 2 hours now over here to try and get one. Hopefully we can get a take. So it's 4:40 and I was starting to think maybe my chances had gone. The right hand rod, which was right down in that bay down there, it's gone off and we've got ourselves a really hard fighting common. I don't actually know how big it is. We're going to get it out. I don't think it's particularly massive, maybe £10, but it did not put up a scrap. As you can probably tell, I'm a little bit out of breath. Made me arm hurt. Got a lot of energy in here today, so I'm going to get everything set up and I'll show you the fish. So like I said, the right hand rod, which has got the cell on it, it's gone off. We're just right down in the corner. We've gone and got ourselves a lovely chunky little common. Let's get it up for the camera. There it is, maybe about £10. Pop a really good fight, full of energy. We'll get some photos, get it back and get the rod back out there, see if we can get another one. So it's now 6:15, it's time to start packing up. I've put the rod pod away and the alarms away, so the rods are on the deck. They'll be the last thing to come in. I'll sort everything else out first. Not been as productive as I hoped it would have been. I do think if I could have got in here earlier when all the fish were in that bay and the sun was out, I would have had a couple more, and I think I'm in on the right hand rod. I am. I tell you what, you cannot script it. As I was saying, it's not been as productive as I was hoping it was going to be. The right hand rod's off and away. I think this one's a little bit bigger. I'll get the tripod all set back up. Got to get it all back out the bag now, and I'll show you the fish. So just as I was doing my piece to camera saying it hasn't been very productive, I was looking at the right hand rod and the rod tip started to move and we were away. We've gone and got ourselves a nice common, a little bit bigger than the last one, just as lively. There it is, nice long one. We're going to get some photos, get it back, get the rods in, and get ourselves off home. Oh, here it goes.
Hey. They call me the catfish king.
You shouldn't curse yourself.
So I'm getting something like a 10-pounder. Oh, there's a fat mouse there.
Now for the moment of truth. We've zeroed the scales, as you can see. What are you saying? What are you saying?
43 maybe or something?
I'll go 45 then.
If I'm lucky.
Yeah, it'll probably be a 20 now. Imagine. Ready?
Yep. Oh, it ain't even a 40, is it? 30... 39.
Oh!
39, bang on pretty much.
So as you can see, nice to get a couple of little results up there. A couple of carp for me, and Dan's had a good few catfish. And he's really got the bug for catfishing now, but unfortunately due to the time of the year, obviously they've started to switch off now, but I'm sure we'll be back at it in the summer next year. We are up here on Steve's, all three rods are out. We've got the left-hand rod about 5 foot off the bank, right opposite the dinner plate. Now I've gone into slightly deeper water because we've had a lot of rain, the water temperature is down, and I feel like the fish may have moved down into deeper water now. We've also got the middle rod in about 4 or 5 foot of water, just off the spit out there. And now the right hand rod, we're doing something completely different. I've got a cell pop up and we're fishing mid-water just out here. Now when I was putting the other 2 rods out, 2 fish did show right out there. Now I wasn't quick enough to see whether they were carp or whether they were pike. Obviously this time of the year, pike are very active, but they were more like carp rolls rather than pike attacking small fish. So I thought I'll stick a rod out there with a pop up because I do know it's a little bit weedy out there still. I dragged the lead across it and it was a little bit bumpy, so I've stuck a pop up out there. That's got a cell one on it, like I said, it's got about 10 freebies around it. The middle rod has got the spicy sausage with about 10 freebies around it. And then the left hand rod has got a cell bottom bait with about 10 freebies around it. So now we're just going to sit back and relax and see if we get a bite. I'm not going to touch the rods at all. Over the weekend this didn't fish particularly well at all. There was no one up this end, which is why I've chosen to come up here. It's been quite quiet on this end of the lake for probably a week now. I don't think anyone's fished this end. There were 6 people on here, no one caught at the weekend. Richard was here, he didn't have anything, but they were all right down the other end fishing the bowl and up to the islands on the other side. So I thought, no line's been in the water up here, they might have pushed up here. So this is why I've chosen this swim. I was going to go on the fin side, right in the middle down there, but I really just fancied getting a rod over there off that bank. Now I know this time of the year, slightly deeper water, that's where the bigger fish hang out, as we know, because Dan had a 30 off there. I just got a feeling that if we're going to get a 30 in this winter, that's where it's going to come from. So we have got the lake to ourselves, so I'm going to sit here. I can see both sides of the lake from here and just keep an eye out, see if I can see any showing fish. If I do, I may possibly move, but they don't really show too much in here. Now and again you'll get the odd one just lunk out like we had this morning, which I'm pretty sure was a carp. So hopefully we can get a bite pretty quickly. It's going to be tough, but this is where I'm going to be spending all of my winter. I'm not going to bother with any other of the lakes. Maybe have a little go on long, we don't know yet. Dan really fancies fishing long. I just don't know, because we haven't really done any prep on there. Don't really know anything about the lake, so I feel like we'd be going in very blind at the wrong time of year. So I'm going to try and stay up here if I can. I really want that 30. Once we've got the 30, then who knows where we're going to go, but we're going to keep soldiering away. I really enjoy this lake. It's a very pretty lake. It's a nice place to be, especially when you're here on your own. It's lovely and quiet. You're right up the other end. No one being noisy, no one to bother you, other than the public footpath that's directly behind me. And randomly you get some walkers walk onto it because they've followed the wrong path and they've ended up in the lakes. So we're going to sit back now, we're going to have a drink, keep an eye on the water, see if we see anything, and I'll come back and update you in a bit. So I'm sitting here minding my own business, and lo and behold, someone else is on the lake with us, and it's the one and only Lee Jackson. So I'm fishing with a celeb today. So hopefully one of us can get a bite. If anyone's going to get it, it's probably going to be him. I mean, he is the ex-British carp record holder, so he's a bit of a better angler than me. So hopefully one of us gets a bite. We'll see what happens. So it's coming up to 10 o'clock. I've been sat here watching both sides of the lake and no signs of any fish, but that doesn't mean they ain't out there. So I think we've got to be in the right place at the right time. I feel like the Haunted is probably going to be the swim that's going to produce the fish over the winter. It is slightly deeper over on that tree line over there on the left hand side, which is where the left hand rod is. It does have big fish form as well, as Dan has had a 30 out there, and that was in the cold weather. So during the winter, that's probably where I'm going to be focusing a lot of my fishing. Just over on that bank, I can pre-bait over there quite easily as well. But we'll see what happens. We've just got to sit here and wait. The lake has gone crystal clear as well, so I probably should be bringing some nice little high-vis pop-ups with me, especially as we've got a lot of leaf debris in the lake at the minute. But unfortunately I left them at home, so that was a bit of a mistake. But we're just going to sit here, wait it out, see what happens. So it's coming up to 11 o'clock and we're starting to get a few signs of fish just out here, which is where the right hand rod is. And as I was standing here watching, the right hand rod, the bobbin pulled up tight, had a couple of bleeps and then settled back down, so it must have been a liner. That could be the carp, could be pike in the area, could be all the small fish, but who knows. Just out of interest, I was wondering if any of you guys that have watched these videos and fished this lake, have you ever caught a tench out of here? Now I did see what I think was quite a big tench in the summer just over on the dinner plate, but I feel like someone would have caught one by now, and I've not heard of anyone catching one out of here. So if you have caught one out of here, leave me a little comment down below and let me know. So I've just had a massive drop back on the middle rod, but I think those guys there were the culprit because they have just swum out of the bay and headed right across the lake over there. So I'm probably going to have to redo that rod just to make sure that it's okay after they've picked it up. So it's been probably about an hour and a half to 2 hours since you last heard from me. What I've done since then is I've actually moved the right hand rod, which was just out in the middle over here, and I've put it right off the edge of the island over there. Thought behind that is, with the sun being out and on the water over there, it might be slightly warmer, so the fish might be patrolling along the edge of the island, hopefully come across the bait and dive down and take it. It's a lovely day, the sun's out and the lake is looking absolutely fantastic. Just happy to be out on the bank. So this is a problem I haven't had to deal with for a while. The wildlife are causing havoc. I've got a moorhen or coot diving on my right hand rod, and I've got the ducks on my middle rod. There it goes again. There you go. So we've only really got an hour and a half left now before we've got to start packing up and going home. The sun is starting to set. It's getting a little bit darker. Temperature's starting to chill down a little bit now that the sun's going in. I've had to redo the right and the middle rod again because the ducks have been all over me. So I've basically moved the rods probably another 2 foot off the islands, just into slightly deeper water where they can't get to the bait. We've got an hour and a half left. It's not looking good for a bite, but you've got to be out here to catch one. So we're going to keep plugging away and see if we can get one before we go home. So it's coming up to 3:30. We've got about half an hour really until the rods have got to come in and we've got to get ourselves off home. No signs of any fish. Lee's packed up and gone off and down the other end as well, so I'm guessing he hasn't had nothing. I'm hoping this right hand rod tears off in a minute and we have a 30 pounder just as the light levels go down. I'm going to sit it out as long as I can, but if you don't see me, that's obviously means I ain't caught nothing. But I might be back tomorrow, so this video might continue tomorrow. If not, I'll just continue on the next session. But hopefully, if I'm not too busy tomorrow and I can get up here about 11 o'clock and get 4 or 5 hours in, you'll see me then. What's up everyone, it's now the next day. We are in the first swim up here on Steve's where we had the 28 pounder. A bit of a later start today, 10 o'clock. I had some things to do this morning, but all 3 rods are out. The swim's a bit of a mess. I'm going to tidy that up, then I'm going to talk you through the rigs and what we're doing, because we're doing things a little bit different today, just to try and see if we can get one on the bank. So here we are in our chosen swim. We're right down the other end from where we were yesterday. We're in the very first little bay that you come to when you come through the gate. Now I've chosen this swim for a couple of different reasons, which I'll go through in just a minute, but this is the swim we've had the 28 pounder from, that nice common which came right off them rushes over there. Now unfortunately there's been quite a lot of surface weed in here, so no one's been able to fish this one for a little while, and I came up here this morning, had a little walk round, and I noticed that it all started to die down, so I thought I'm going to give it a go. No one's fished it, there's been no lines in the water, so maybe the fish have been held up in here. Just to give you an idea of how much of this swim was actually covered in weed, it pretty much went from the edge of this tree here all the way up and over there into the channel down the side of the little island. So this has been completely covered. All the fish could have been held up in here, and hopefully now that it's gone down and that the sun's out, the water's still nice and warm and they're still held up in here. Now I've got the left hand rod basically right in under the tree over there, and that's got the spicy sausage bottom bait on it. The middle rod is where we're doing things slightly different. So I did fish rod pop up yesterday, but today I've remembered to bring the high vis pop ups, and I've got a bright pink, what was tutti frutti but is now spicy sausage, because I've covered it in a liquid just to make it match the bottom baits, which is right out there where we had the 28 pounder from. Now normally I'd be right off these rushes, but it's just off the edge of the weed out there. And then the right hand rod is in this little hole. Now over here it does cut back, and if you walk along the path over there and look through the fence, fish do normally sit just where that little white thing is. So what I've done is I've boat with the right hand rod right out there just off the edge of the weed and dropped that down, and that's got a cell bottom bait on it. So I forgot to mention that the cell bottom bait has actually got a bright yellow bit of fake corn on it as well. Now I'm using that just to give it a little bit more of high visibility attraction just for the fish. The water is actually crystal clear, it doesn't look it, but it really is very clear, so I'm hoping something a little bit more visible might attract the fish in. Also I've scattered 20 to 30 freebies all the way up from the left hand rod all the way to the right hand rod, just up and down this whole bank, because what we're trying to do is get the fish moving, and hopefully they fall for one of the traps set along there. It's really important to try and get the fish moving around and feeding. They will probably only be feeding in the warmer water as well. They're not going to be sat in the depths feeding, they're going to be sat there trying to reserve their energy. So with the sunlight on the lake, bait all about, hopefully they're on the move, hopefully we can get one. If not, doesn't matter, we keep going, we'll keep trying. So here's the pop-ups that we're using on the middle rod. They were Frutella, and like I said, I don't know how long they've been in my bag. It's got to be at least 4 years, and I don't know if I've ever actually caught a fish on them, but they have been sat in spicy sausage liquid for quite a while, and as you can see they're very high vis, and they've just got that nice little shine to them from the liquid. So we're hoping that fish might see this and fall for the trap. So if you are going to boil the kettle, make a nice cup of tea, make use of the steam, tie yourself a rig, use some shrink tube, saves you from doing it later on. Cheers. Also, leave a comment down below, what's your favourite biscuit to dunk in your tea? In a minute, I'm really into some shortbread. Good stuff. So annoyingly, the right hand rod's just torn off, and I've gone and lost one. I lifted into it, nothing there, but the rod was absolutely melting. Now looking at the hook, the point of the hook is actually dented and blunt. Now I boated it out, and I'm sure I checked it before I put it out there and it wasn't blunt, but who knows, maybe I missed it. That could have been our only chance of a fish today, so I'm going to finish tying another elusive tie one when I was making the tea, and I'm going to put that one back out there. Hopefully we get another chance. Well, that's absolutely devastating, but you have to learn from these things, so make sure you check your hooks before you put your rigs out there. I'm tempted to bring the other two in and just check them, but I'm going to leave them out there and see what happens. I don't want to cause too much disturbance out there. That could have been our chance for a 30, it could have been just our chance for a fish today, to be honest, but the rod's back out there, new rig on, new hook, it's back in the exact same spot. The other thing I did learn is that the foam isn't dissolving as quickly. Obviously the water temperature is a lot lower, so the foam's not dissolving as quick, so I'm not pinching it on quite as hard. And I also learned that the right hand rod is the one with the spicy sausage, and then the left hand rod is the one with the cell and the yellow bit of sweet corn on. I actually got them around the wrong way when I was telling you earlier. So the time is 1 o'clock, and the right hand rod once again has absolutely one tone had melted off. The rod tip swung round, picked up the rod, Nothing there. Second time today, I have no idea what's going on. Check the rig, it was perfectly fine this time, so it's not that. I'm back leading, so the chance of it being a line are pretty slim. It's not like it's shallow over there either, it's about the same depth. So who knows, it could be a fish swimming into the line somewhere. But the fact that it's like one toner in and the rod tip is bent completely round, I think the fish are picking it up. I've switched the lead to a slightly heavier one. I was using a 2.5, so I've gone back to a 3-ounce lead. I normally use 3-ounce leads anyway. The other two rods have got 3-ounce leads on them, so maybe that'll make a little bit of a difference, who knows. But again, I was thinking that was my only chance this morning of catching one, and then I've gone and had another possible bite. So the fish are in the area. Put it back out, right back in the same spot, put a few freebies out there. Just got to keep giving it a go, keep trying. So it's 2 o'clock, we've got a couple of hours. I'm going to give it to 4 o'clock and I'm going to get the rods in and get off home. We've been getting a little bit of interest on the left hand rod as well now, which is the one right in under the tree. So the fish are in the area. Unfortunately we lost those 2 fish on the right hand rod off that spot. So we definitely chose the right swim. The sun has now swung round and this bay is not in the sun anymore. It's now over on the island over there. But I'm hoping the water's going to hold the heat. The fish might be in here. We've got a couple of hours, like I say, might be able to get one on the bank, but it's good signs. Shows the fish are on the move, shows they're in there, shows they're feeding. It's just absolutely gutting to have lost 2. So it's coming up to 3:30. We've got about half an hour. The light levels are starting to drop. Got to get the rods in soon and get off home. Maybe we'll get something in that last half hour, but I doubt it. I think we missed our opportunity today when we had those 2 runs and lost those 2 fish. So, but good signs, shows the fish are on the move and feeding still. I'm not sure when I'm going to get back down here. Maybe at the weekend. Me and Dan might be doing a weekend, so hopefully we'll be able to make a video for you then. But until next time, tight lines, wet nets, and I'll see you all soon.